Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon. I am on a couple of minutes early this morning because I realized a few days ago that it's been quite some time since I really went through and showed you guys everything that's in the garden. I've just been showing a couple of things here and there, but I want to take some time this morning and go over pretty much everything that's out here. Not everything, because we'll be here a long time, but just to show you what some of the plants are doing, and talk about the progression of the season, because this is something that I've realized recently, is that people listen and watch and follow for the content related to life coaching and life in general skills, but a lot of people follow this particular segment for the gardening information. I have so many people that text me, inbox me, and a multitude of things that ask specific gardening questions. So this morning I'm going to take some time to really just go through what's out here and talk about the progression of the season. Good morning, Janelle. Good morning, Doug. So we're going to start out here at the stuff that's on the table. So this is a Cocozelle squash, and everybody, most people know that squash gets male flowers and female flowers, and bumblebees take pollen from the male flower and deposit it on a female flower. And I don't know if you can see it, but that right there is the formation of a squash. This is green patty pan squash, and this is the first time that I've grown Cocozelle squash or green patty squash. I don't know if you can see it, but that little dish shape, that's the formation of a green patty squash. That is too. It's several on here. But this is the thing that gardeners often experience. We see the formation of fruit. This is another Cocozelle squash. We see the formation of fruit or vegetables coming in, and we get excited, as we should. However, a lot of them we lose really early on because they don't have the proper pollination, so they'll die, and we become discouraged. But in gardening, you also get lots of beautiful little surprises. So this was my traditional zucchini, and it was so beautiful. I could not wait to show. Good morning, Rob. To show it to you all because it was so pretty. But then we had 3 days where it rained every night, and it's showing some signs of disease now. But as I just said, you get lovely little surprises. So I moved the leaves back this morning just to inspect the plant, and I've got a full zucchini there. So I'm gonna pick that today. All of the herbs are doing well. Orange mint, curly and flat parsley are doing well. I eat a little bit of parsley every morning because it's a blood purifier. I can't really, it helps keep the blood clean, so I eat a little bit of that, rinse it off, and just chew it up. Yes, it tastes very green, but it's very good for me. Strawberry mint doing well. Most of these herbs I'm going to cut back extensively today or tomorrow to dry them so that I can use them in teas and things throughout the winter. This is Jack. Jack is trying to take over everything. He's a beanstalk. It's not very many beans on here at the moment, but there's, well, I found some this morning, but I don't see them there. But I think there's one back there, but Jack is taking over everything. This is my sweet potato plant. It's doing well, but honestly, I don't know if it's gonna produce anything, because I should have planted it much earlier than I did. Sweet potatoes take, I think, 9 months to mature. Oh, I got a infestation going on there on my potato plant. I got to take care of that as soon as I get off of some kind of caterpillars on my potatoes. But sweet potatoes take 9 months to mature, and I waited too late to plant this. So I don't know if I'm going to get any potatoes or not before it gets too cold. Good morning, Shay. Good morning, Monique. I don't have any sweet banana peppers on the plant because a few days ago, I had a photo shoot in the garden. And guys, I cannot thank you enough for the overwhelming response that you all had to it. I looked at those pictures and I realized photo shoots are usually not easy for me because I smile when I'm laughing, but I can't do fake smiles. But that photo shoot was easy, and it was because I was in this garden. So I really want to thank you all so much for all the beautiful comments. The jalapeno, it's got several jalapenos on it. It's doing well. The red cayenne pepper, it's got, I have harvested this thing so many times, but it's got so many green peppers on it right now. So yesterday, I made some pico, which if any of you know, pico is like salsa, but it's not cooked. So I made some pico. I put a green chili in it because I didn't want it to be super hot, thinking, it's not red yet, it's not going to be hot. Let me tell y'all something, that pepper was hot. That pico is good though. But this is the star of the garden right now. This is my baby. This is the watermelon plant. And this is the first one that started to produce. I've since put it in a stocking or the foot of some pantyhose to support it so that it doesn't break or it doesn't get too heavy for the trellis here, because everything is in containers. And it's growing beautifully. I was like, oh my God, it's getting so big. But I'm hoping it survives. And also the pantyhose will help protect it from pests and everything. This is the pinto bean plant. It's still doing well, but my sister and I had a conversation recently. When it comes to beans and peas and things of that nature, you have to plant a lot of it in a patio garden. It was like, it'll take me 5 years with the pinto bean plant that I have to get enough beans to cook, but I'm still enjoying the process of learning about it. Speaking of learning, if you have a gardening and you've been you started a garden because of the things that you've seen here, get you a journal and write down things that you learn as you go, because I can promise you next spring when you start to plant again, you won't remember. So this is the basil plant. This is another plant that I'm actually going to harvest in the next day or so that I'm going to cut it back tremendously. The cherry tomato, it had one good crop this season already, but it's producing again now. Good morning, Anisha. My cucumber plant. So to look at this cucumber plant, you're like, what in the world did Kim do? I didn't do anything. Nature took its course. Although it is still producing, because this morning I found that huge cucumber back there. It's still producing, but it has been ravaged by rain and sun, because of the position that it's in. Most of the day it's still sitting in full sun, even though I have the shade cloth, but because it's on the very edge, it still is in the sun most of the day, and the sun has ravaged this poor thing. And I started to pull it up, but I decided not to, because it's still, ooh, sorry, look, I didn't mean to disturb you. It's a bumblebee there doing his little thing. So where he's working at right now, in a day or two, it's going to be a cucumber there, so I decided to leave them. This is the yellow bell pepper. This morning, see all of those peppers? I can't see good, guys, the sun is shining on me. But you see all of those peppers on there? I counted this morning that it had 12 on it. This is the Boston pickling cucumber. I don't see any on here right now, but it's still living, so I'm not gonna pull it up. This is my celery. I've been using the cut and come again. When I need a stalk or two of celery, I'll come out and I'll cut it for whatever I need, and then I just let it keep growing back. And that was from a kitchen scrap. This is another zucchini. Now, gardening is a learning process. So my thought was, I'm gonna plant a morning glory in here with this zucchini, so to invite pollinators. But as you can see, the morning glory has taken over. So one of the things I put in my journal was not to plant vegetables that need a lot of space with something like a morning glory, because it spreads. Everything's a learning process. So let's move around here on the back side of the table, and in just a second I'll get started. This was another cucumber. Lord, all these pollinators, they'd be like, well, they wish I would stop disturbing them. But it's been producing well. Doesn't have anything on it because during the shoot during the photo shoot, I actually did some harvesting. Can you see this tangled up mess right here? It's a lovely, beautiful mess, but it is a mess all the same. It's this green bean, this cucumber, and that cucumber over there have intertwined with these sunflowers and the other plants that are over here. So I've got quite a beautiful little mess going. Good morning, Sandra, going on. But I wanted to show you one other thing before I talk about my topic this morning, and that's this sunflower. So as you can see, it's got multiple heads on it. I'm gonna talk about let me get back around here. It has multiple heads on it, so from it I'm going to harvest the seeds so that the flowers that it produces next year will likely have multiple heads on it too. Because what I learned this year when I planted sunflowers for the first time, behind all of those all are individual little flowers, and behind each one of them is a seed. So for this particular flower, because it's got all of the heads on it, I'm going to harvest the seeds from it, and hopefully what it produces next year will all be multiple head sunflowers. The other sunflowers, I'm actually going to harvest the seeds, roast them, and then I'll have sunflowers. Typically on this type of sunflower, these are mammoth sunflowers, but because they're in pots, they didn't get nearly as big as they ordinarily would have. So, but I was still pleased with the outcome because I wasn't sure if they were going to do anything. Last thing I'm going to show you is this tomato plant. It's really young, really small, and it actually was a piece that broke from the tomato plant that I have on the front porch when I repotted it. But instead of throwing it away, I decided to put it in some dirt to see if it would grow. And tomatoes are one of those things you can just stick it in dirt, a stem, a clipping, or whatever, and it will grow. And because in North Carolina we have such a long growing season, when my tomatoes on the front porch are likely finishing up, this one will be producing probably in late September or October. And once the season, I'm hoping to get a small greenhouse. So not anything that, one of them you can put up and take down. So if I do that, then once it gets too cold for them, I'll put them inside the little greenhouse. Let me tell y'all something. It's hot out here. I'm sweating already. I wasn't sweating when I started this, but I've been walking around in the sun. But today's topic is beautifully scarred. So many of you saw the pictures from the photo shoot I did this week in the garden. And in one particular pose, I was sitting down on a little stool and I had a dress on so I could see my knees, and I looked down and I saw the scars on my knees. And I actually giggled because they are barely visible anymore. Good morning to you. When I first had the surgery, the scars were much wider and they were much more apparent, and they were not as they would have been unsightly to other people. Now, me personally, I love those scars on my knees because of what they represented. They represented the ending of one season and the beginning of another. So when I looked at those scars, I didn't see pain or anger or anything that was unsightly. I saw the start of a beautiful life. So I loved the scars that I had on my knees from my total knee replacement, but that wasn't always true. I had a surgery when I was a teenager on my right leg, that when they took the cast off, the scar was black, it was jagged, it was ugly. And as a teenager, I was embarrassed by that. I was ashamed of it. And for years, I wouldn't wear shorts because I didn't want anybody to see the trauma. I didn't want anybody to see my scars. So today, I want to talk to you about being beautifully scarred. we all are beautifully scarred. Some of those scars are physical scars where we have had some type of trauma, whether it was a planned surgery, an accident, a car accident, or accident at your home, or anything that left you with an indelible mark that lets you know something happened that marks, it's a historical mark. It marks time for you. We all have some kind of physical scar. But the scars that nobody sees that we have are the emotional scars that are left from any kind of trauma that we experience. For most of us, as a child, some children, their memory will start at 6 or 7. Some, their memory will start at 2 years old. But for most, if you ask them what was the precipitating event, and the memory that they have at that age is due to some type of trauma. So we all have scars, whether we are living in a household with parents that can't get along, or in a household where they're abusing drugs or abusing alcohol, or where there's other types of abuse going on. All of those things, whether they leave a physical scar or not, they leave emotional scars. Which is, it can be a reminder of the bad things that have happened in our life. But those scars don't have to haunt you your entire life. Excuse me, guys, something is in my eye. I apologize. It might have been just sweat. But something's in my eye. Those scars, they have the ability to keep us stuck in the past where we're looking back for our entire, good morning, Tamika. We're looking back and for our entire life at the things that happened to us, and we are never moving forward. Even when we are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s years old, we are still angry and bitter and upset about something that occurred when we were 10, 15, 20, maybe even younger. Moving beyond the pain, the scars, the trauma doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It doesn't negate the importance of it. But if you allow it to keep you stuck there, then you've missed a life that could have been beautiful because you were looking back over your shoulder at the past instead of looking forward to the future. Getting to your future when you've experienced when you have an emotional scar, when you have some kind of trauma, it's hard work, but it can be done. I don't want anybody to go through their life and get to the end of their life and realize that they've been bitter and angry the entire time. We all know that person that you can't even talk to, that they're so mean and they're so angry that everything that comes out of their mouth, it spews out like venom. I used to didn't want to talk to people that had that kind of attitude and that mentality, but I now recognize that even if they don't say anything, and it's not my place to say anything to them, that anger and that bitterness is usually the expression of some type of trauma, some type of pain, some type of bitterness that they've never been able to get over. So I take that as an opportunity to extend some grace to people. I think about the grace that Jesus has extended to me in my life over and over again. And instead of coming back at that person with more anger and with more venom, I try to extend some grace to them. It's not easy, but I know that there's going to be a time in everybody's life, not in my life and in your life, where we're all going to need some grace. We all fall and we come short every day. But this is an opportunity not to look at people and to cast them away and talk about what's wrong with them, but to show them the love of Jesus. We get that opportunity time and time again. Even when we're in stores, when we encounter a clerk who is not the most pleasant thing in the world. But that's an opportunity for us to show them what the manifestation of Jesus and the Holy Spirit look like. But when we come back at them at venom, it only spreads more venom, because the next person that comes up to them, they're going to express what you just expressed to that next person. So we set in motion this chain of events. We're long gone from the store or wherever we're at. We're long gone. But the consequences of our action are reaping effects on people, one person after another, over and over again. It's perpetuating itself. But what we can do as believers, as followers of Jesus, is to learn how to extend grace to one another, even when we don't want to. I was in the grocery store the other day, and y'all, I know I'm flawed, and but we have the rules and the things in place now to try to keep us safe. And this particular aisle was crowded, and there was a lot of people on it, and everybody was going in one direction except for this one man. He was walking with his basket in the opposite direction. It made me mad. And I was like, we're trying to respect each other. We're trying to keep each other safe. But you are doing this just to buck the rules. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, John. But in that, as soon as I walked by him, I began to pray, because God, please forgive me for feeling so angry with him, because I don't know what his intent is. I don't know if he just didn't see the sign or if he was busy or whatever. But I pray, God, please show me how to extend grace to, good morning, Sean, grace to others, to share the grace that you have given me time and time again. I shouldn't even be here. I've been in couple car wrecks. I've had so many things that have happened where God has shown me grace, where he has forgiven me, where he has redeemed me over and over again. If we can learn how to extend a little bit of that grace, we can't match or meet what God has done for us, but we can show him what the love of Jesus is like by extending some grace to other people. We are all beautifully scarred. We have experienced some traumas. We have experienced some pain. It's been physical. It's been emotional. It's been the full gamut of things. But instead of allowing our pain to perpetuate and to hold us prisoner, not just captive, but hold us prisoner, because that's what it feels like. I know from my own personal experience, when you don't deal with the pain, the trauma that you've experienced in your life, you are literally living in a prison. And because I had so much pain, I put myself in solitary confinement, brick by brick by brick, until one day the walls were so high, I felt like I could not get out. But I made a decision that I wasn't going to stay there. We are scarred. We have physical scars, we have emotional scars, but yes, Monique, trapped. But when we make a decision that this is not where we want to be, when we start doing the emotional work, when we start turning to God and praying feverishly, God, change my heart, fix this. Over time, you'll see that things get better. You don't feel as angry anymore. You don't feel as bitter. You don't feel as sad and depressed, because all of that stuff trapped on the inside of you over time is going to lead to depression. Sometimes topics just come up to me when I'm just sitting. I always put a note in my phone. But one of the topics I'm going to do sometime soon is oppressed, suppressed, and depressed. When you suppress your feelings. No, I'm not going to go into that now, but all of that stuff, it leads to depression. And we have to be, in the environment that we're living in now, we have to be careful, because even the nicest of us, we're having more instances where we feel angry. And that's because we are stressed beyond our bandwidth. But I want you all to know, good morning, Tammy, that we can make it. Good morning, Robin. We are stressed because we're dealing with the situations that are going on in everyday life, but we're also dealing with the environment that we're living in. So in this instance, in this time, it's an opportunity for us to learn how to extend some grace. We're going to fall. Yep, I have gotten mad more recently than I have in years. But it's because I instantly recognize I'm under stress. So I'm intentionally spending more time in my garden. I came out here this morning. I got up really early because my trainer let me know last weekend that we are running today. And when we typically do some type of high impact, high energy exercise every time. But when he says we're doing a workout with running, that means every exercise is going to be some type of running. So I got up early because I wanted to actually have a good protein shake with some nutrients in it to give me some energy this morning. I usually don't eat anything before we go work out. Good morning, Brandy. But I want all of us to realize that all of us are dealing with scars. We are all dealing with some type of pain. We are all dealing with some type of trauma, whether it is a physical scar. But I have learned to look at my scars and know how beautiful they are, because I can look at the multitude of scars on my body. But we're going to just use my legs, but I've had surgeries all over the place. I've got leg scars on the front of my legs, the sides of it, multiple scars on my knees. But I can look at those and see a reminder of the trauma that I went through, all the pain, all the years of arthritis, even from, the pain from a baby. But instead, I choose to look at those scars and see how beautiful they are, and know that they are the start of something else in my life. That scar is a reminder of the past and the open door to my future. Good morning, Dorian. So when we look back on those painful instances in our life, we can stay trapped in the trauma, or we can take that as an opportunity to move forward into something new and something beautiful. We are all beautifully scarred. And then when you see someone else or someone else makes you angry, remember your scars, whether it's a physical one or an emotional one, and take that as an opportunity to extend some grace to others and watch how it impacts your life. And the impact won't just be on you, it'll be on them. And then on the next person that they encounter, and the next person they encounter. But as I said earlier, if out of our trauma, out of our pain, out of our stress, we spew venom at the person that's in front of us, whether it's our child, our spouse, the waitress, the waiter, the grocery store clerk, they spew that same venom on the person that comes in after you long gone. You could have encountered them that morning and had a really bad encounter, and that afternoon they're still spewing venom. But instead of spewing venom, take that as an opportunity to extend some grace. So guys, if you enjoyed this segment of In the Garden with Joyful Living, please share it. Please, if you missed the beginning of it, go back and look at it. I showed you all most of my beautiful plants. I haven't shown everything out here in a long time because we ain't got that kind of time. And but thank you for sharing this part of my sanctuary, allowing me to share this with you all. This space brings me peace. And for all of y'all that commented on the photo shoot from this past week, thank you so very much. I was overwhelmed with all your beautiful comments. And that photo shoot was easy for me. And taking pictures usually isn't an easy thing for me. I just don't know why. I can't fake smile. That's what it is. But being here in this garden, taking those pictures, it was easy because I'm at peace here. I'm happy here. And the joy just overflows from me. So the photographer, we just talked, and he walked around and took pictures as I was talking. And those laughs, those smiles you see, they were real. That's why that photo shoot turned out so great. I was blown away when he sent me the pictures. He actually messaged me a little bit before he sent them and said, Kim, I don't know what to say. He's like, these pictures are absolutely beautiful. But I want to thank you all for the comments and everything. And I'll be posting part 2 of it, which is actually working in the garden. That was the pretty part. I want to put on my little pretty sundress and, with my little sunflowers. But guys, thank you for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living. And thank you for being part of this journey. We've been doing this 2 years now. And what started out as a tomato and a zucchini plant has turned into a little sanctuary, a garden. But you can do the same thing in your life. Doesn't necessarily have to be with plants, but just start with where you at, with whatever vision that God, good morning Elizabeth, whatever vision that God gives you to create that space for yourself that allow you to connect with Him, that allow you to connect with yourself. I've sat out here and cried. I have sat out here and prayed. I sing. Sometimes you might catch me dancing, and I didn't realize my neighbors across in the neighborhood behind me can see me, but they can. One of them let me know. She said she enjoyed it. So, but anyway, Guys, I love you all so very much. Thank you for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living. I'm going to go out here in this heat and run with my trainer a little bit this morning, and hopefully he won't hurt me too bad. But guys, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.